From blueprints to booming businesses, from groundbreaking to grand openings, this is Beyond the Blueprint. Join host Brad Howard as he takes you behind the scenes of growth and development in Mooresville, Lake Norman, and beyond. We're talking with the decision makers, the planners, the visionaries shaping our communities, giving exclusive insight into what happens before, during, and after projects that define our region. The future is being built right now. Let's go beyond the blueprint.
Good Friday afternoon. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you to those tuning in on 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM, watching on social media, listening at WSICnews.com, and catching us on demand on the WSIC News app. This is Beyond the Blueprint, and I'm your host, Brad Howard. On the show, we usually talk about the projects, the deals, and the people shaping growth around Lake Norman. Today, we're discussing something more personal to everyone: your health, your stress, your sleep, and how plant-based wellness will fit into that picture. If you're a business owner, executive, parent, or professional who's been running hard and wondering if there's a better balance between plants and pills, this hour is for you. Our guest today is Stephen Brown with Native Ceuticals, a leader in the modern health and wellness space utilizing the endocannabinoid system. He's helping people rethink their toolkit with quality, education-first, plant-based products rather than easy, quick fixes. Over the next 4 segments, we'll dig into Steve's journey into health, wellness, and hemp. What's real, what's hype, what makes the hemp industry today, how new laws are changing what you see on the shelf, and practical ways you can use plant-based tools responsibly alongside your doctor's care. So let's dive in. Steve, great to have you here today. And for folks that don't know who you are, give us the 15-second version of who is Stephen Brown and what do you do?
Yeah, thanks, Brad. It's great to be here. So yeah, my name is Stephen Brown. To be honest, I never really thought I'd be in this, but I'm a father, I'm a husband, I've got 4 kids. I'm an entrepreneur kind of at heart. So I always like to try to, be into like new things. So getting into the health and wellness space was never really a plan of mine, but it ended up being a real passion.
So how did you get here? And I'm going to ask that question first, but before I do, every time we're together, I notice you're always drinking tea. So before we start this, I want you to, you've explained it to me and I understand it. So explain, what are you always drinking?
Yeah, so a lot of people, when you think of tea, I mean, most people just think of it as like something enjoyable to drink, which it is. I mean, it's, the taste and everything is a big part of it. But really, at first, the way that we look at it, it's a delivery method. And so, because what these are, I mean, you're dealing with all different kinds of herbs, roots, plants, leaves, flowers, and whatnot. And all these different herbs have different active compounds in them. So I'll just go over the one that I'm drinking here now, which is basically, it's a combination of burdock root, dandelion root, hibiscus, and ginger. Those are the herbs. And then we also have some different extract powders that we work with. And in there is beetroot powder, milk thistle, and then matcha. So it's a type of green tea.
So how in the world did you? I know we're going to talk about who is Steve Brown, and you want Steve or Stephen?
Steve is good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Steve. So who is Steve Brown? So we want to know, and how did you come to the conclusion with all of these plants and that they were able to help the body? I mean, where did you start out? I mean, let's go back. Who is Steve? Start in the beginning. So obviously you've only been doing this 5-10 years.
Yeah, so it was basically around 2017 is when we first got into this, but the interest was peaked probably back in around, I guess I'd say 2011, 12, when my wife and I, we first started having kids. Maybe some of you might be familiar with this, but there's this cough. It's like a really bad cough called croup. And we didn't know anything about this. I mean, new parents, it's all just a mystery, right? So like, here's your baby and he's coughing so bad and he can't breathe. So naturally you bring him to the emergency room. And, after a couple different times of that happening, and every time we go, it was escalating. It was like, first it started off with like some kind of like, syringe of liquid that they put in his mouth. Next time it was a breathing apparatus that we had to bring home. So I'm thinking like, is this going to be our life? So a friend of mine who was into like kind of herbal medicines and things like that, just gave me a suggestion. He said, no, why don't you just go get some wintergreen essential oil and then put it in a diffuser. And next time he has the cough, let him drink it or let him breathe it in. So we did that. And I mean, it was like a charm. Like he just started breathing clearly. I mean, never had the problem again. So that was really kind of like my first, like, I guess you could say, introduction into all this.
Mhm.
And then, you kind of forget about that. Life goes on, but it sticks in the back of your head because it was really that big of a deal. I mean, it was a pretty big. I mean, it was a pretty like
As your child.
yeah, and it was really it was surprising how quickly it worked. And it's like, and we had been to the emergency room so many times with it, and it just didn't really seem to do much. But this, it was just like, snap the finger and he was breathing again. So we're just like, okay, that was interesting. Then a few more events like that, different things happening. Like one time, you ever see those like marks on your fingernail? That's like a sign of vitamin deficiency.
Oh,
In
yeah.
particular, it's
Yeah.
biotin.
Mhm.
And so another one. So one time, it was actually the same friend of mine. I was having those marks, and he said, "Take some biotin." So I'm like, okay. So I go to try to find where do you find this stuff,
Right.
So I start taking it, and all of a sudden, a couple weeks later, the marks are gone. So little things like this just started happening over the years. And so finally, it was really around 2016, 17 is when I went all in.
Okay. Well, when you say you went all in, what does that mean?
Yeah. So before that, it's 2008, 2009. I mean, I'm sure many remember the times it was the financial, crash and everything. It was,
I definitely remember that time.
yeah. It's a bad time to be finishing school and going into the workplace. And so, instead of going into like the professional workplace, I ended up starting a small business out of my garage in around 2010. And I don't know if you also remember, but 2010, people were still kind of like, I don't know, I guess you could say like cautious about buying things online. So it was also kind of an unusual time to be starting an online business. But I mean, I kind of saw where things were going. So I was like, well, I'm going to go for this. So we started a small online sales business, selling basically closeouts from major department stores.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And so yeah, that's what we were doing at that time. And then we were doing that all the way until around 2016, which is when all these other things happened. And then I was working with a doctor of osteopathy who was getting into cannabis as medicine. And that's really what really piqued my interest there.
Okay. And explain that. We have about a minute and a half before the break, but you worked with this doctor of osteopathy. So
Mhm.
what were you doing there, and how did that transition you from this phase of your life into where you are today?
So he was actually my doctor,
Oh.
and so he was a customer of ours too, and he was just telling us about all this different stuff that was happening in like the cannabis space. And for me, I'm like most people, I always just thought of cannabis as like like marijuana, get high, whatever. But he was telling me all about how like there's all these different cannabinoids like CBD and things like that, which I never even heard of. That's doing wonders for people. So yeah, so he was the introduction to me about the endocannabinoid system and how all that works.
Okay. And from there, you started your own company.
Yeah, I started a brand. I ended up working with him for about a year and a half. I actually ended up apprenticing with him very closely and kind of learning the tricks of the trade. And that was, I guess you could say, the beginning of my journey into the plant wellness space.
Okay. And that's a good segue here to go to the break. When we get back, we're going to talk about plants versus pills and how that changed your life. We'll be right back. And we're back on Beyond the Blueprint. If you're just joining us, we're talking with Stephen Brown with Native Ceuticals about rethinking our health toolkit, especially around stress, pain, anxiety, and sleep. So, Steve, when you listen to customers talk about stress, pain, anxiety, sleep, uh, what things matter the most to you?
What matters the most to me, I mean, really, it's like everybody is experiencing something different. And a really important thing is just to listen to people and just to listen to what what they're dealing with. But I'll tell you though, if they say sleep, like if sleep is one of the things that they're dealing with,
Mhm.
that's usually where I suggest people to start. Because if you're not getting good sleep, I mean, it can really affect everything else, including stress and pain. So usually, I like to start there.
So that's what I was going to ask is what do you hear most often people have an issue with? The pain, anxiety, sleep, and you just said sleep is where you like to start helping them on a recovery.
Yeah, I mean, we call it the big three: sleep, pain, and stress. I mean, you find me somebody that is not dealing with at least one of those three, and I'll ask them what's their secret. And it's just a fact of life. I mean, we get into things, we age, I mean, whatever it is, sleep problems, pain, stress issues, these are really just kind of part of the human condition. And interestingly enough, like I was saying, sleep, it affects all of them. So unless it's like really bad pain, that's another one where if it's just like, debilitating pain, then okay, we'll just go right there. But if it's sleep is in the mix, then if you can get a person sleeping well, then you'd be surprised like how many other things just start to fall into place.
Yeah, and not just on sleep. We talked about pain and anxiety. There's a story you've told me about pain,
Mm.
specifically, and we don't use names or anything, but the pain product, one of the pain products that you formulated and you
Mhm.
make for the knees. There was an individual, I think, out of Statesville, maybe, that put it on. And you want to tell that story? It's the same story you told me.
Oh, the one about the up the, with
Yeah, the
the okay, yeah.
stairs. Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean we just have amazing testimonials. I mean, um I'll just like one in particular that was really that has stuck with me is a woman who lived in a two-story house. She lives in a two-story house and raised her family there and everything like that. And she had such bad arthritis in her knees that she really wasn't able to go up and down the stairs anymore. I mean, at least without incredible difficulty. So she just doesn't go upstairs anymore. But upstairs is where her kids' bedrooms were. And I mean, one day hopefully maybe I'll be a grandparent, but I can imagine it's probably very sentimental to have like, your kids' bedrooms and they're moved out and everything like that. And it was really painful for her to not be able to do that. So she used our relief salve. And I mean, within like the next time I saw her, which was about a month later, she told me she wasn't even using the walker anymore and she was able to go up and down the stairs. So that, which obviously means that she's able to go and visit her kids' bedrooms again, which really meant a lot to her. And so that, like, it's these kind of stories that really makes it more than just like, than just like a toolkit, like you were saying.
yeah. So you make so the products that you're formulating and you're making, have the ability to hopefully change somebody's or impact someone's life.
That is the idea. I mean, we have a in Statesville, downtown Statesville, we have a store there, and it's called Native Ceuticals Apothecary. And one of the main things that we always talk about is we call it build your own apothecary. We all have a medicine cabinet at home, and it didn't happen overnight. It took years to put this thing together. And the idea that is that there are other alternatives to some of the everyday things that we deal with, and we're just trying to help people build their own apothecary at home. So maybe it starts with a pain salve, maybe a month or two later you're adding something for sleep or stress or gut issues or allergies or whatever it is. But over time you start to accumulate this like sort of mini apothecary at home. That way you have options when things happen. Like if you get a cold, maybe you don't run for over the counter medication. Maybe instead you go for a tea or a tea
Right.
blend
And a
that we
tea
make.
like I always see you drinking
That's right.
every time we see each other.
Hmm.
So okay, so let's dive down that. So we were talking about the products and the formulations and everything. You created these, but also you just mentioned the store.
Hmm.
Let's tell people so to help visualize. It's on Broad Street in downtown Statesville.
Hmm.
So help people visualize where you are and you walk in the door. What are they going to see? What are they going to experience? How can you help?
So we really wanted to try to recreate this sort of old school kind of like drugstore experience for people. Like, back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, you would go to your local drugstore or apothecary, and they would have all kinds of powders and herbs and they would mix up a different thing or whatever it is that you're dealing with. So really it's very similar to that. You walk in and to the right, you'll see a whole wall of glass mason jars full of different herbs and roots and powders and different colors, purple, red, green, all different shades of brown. I mean, it's really pretty amazing. And what we do is we try to make it as simple as possible for you. Everything is sold in little individual containers, and everything ranges from anywhere from like $8.99 to maybe $12.99. So it's very reasonable. And we also make some blends that address the different issues. But the idea is you come in and everything is with labels so that you can see what everything does and what it helps you with. We really do have the customer in mind, so it's a very welcoming experience.
It is. So you could actually try some of the teas like you have there, not just buy them and take them home, but you could actually buy them in the store and experience them while you walk around downtown Statesville.
Yeah, that's right. We do. We also do it by the cup as well, so you
Okay.
can come and buy like any combination that you want. I mean, we have probably over 50 different herbs, and then probably about over 30 or so different extract powders. So you can really make any combination of tea that you want. We'll put it in the tea bag, we'll put it the water and everything, and then you just like kind of the to go cup, and then that way you can just walk around with it, or you can take it with you and enjoy it right there.
Okay, so on this, as we're talking about the store, from your perspective, you've had a front row seat into all of the changes in this industry. So, what are the biggest shifts that you've seen in plant based wellness in the last few years?
Yeah, so definitely COVID was a massive change. I mean, this was not just like a gradual shift. This was a total, like almost like I would even say like a consciousness change, where people are really starting to think more about things that they can do, for their health on their own through plant based solutions. That was a huge change, and since then we've really seen a massive uptick in the amount of interest. But one of the things that we do different from maybe maybe you've seen a tea shop or something like that before. We always say like we're not a tea shop, we're an apothecary. So what's surprising for a lot of people is when we put cannabis, which people typically think about that in like a CBD shop or a vape shop or a smoke shop or something like that. Like we don't come off like that at all, because I mean that's not where we believe that hemp belongs. It's a plant, right? I mean, what is different between hemp and lemon balm, or ashwagandha or something like that? We believe, and I think that nature will show that the hemp plant it's a plant and it belongs with these other plants. So that's how we present it in our store as well. And we have lots of different products that we make. Here at Native Ceuticals, we make a really amazing suite of products, the kind of stuff you won't find in a smoke shop or a vape shop or your typical CBD store.
Right, because your focus is more health and wellness, not recreation, and that's where most of these places are.
Yeah, and that's really you were asking like, what is the industry like? I mean, that's really, I'd say probably 80 to 90% of the attention in the industry is faced at the sort of recreational side. And sadly, even a lot of people that do understand the health benefits of hemp and cannabis, um, they still tend to lean more towards the recreational aspect in their presentation. So, and I think that that's given a lot of people the wrong impression about what this plant's capable of.
Right, and we'll jump back, and I don't like to go backwards and forwards, but you had told a story about the when you were working with the doctor of osteopathy.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that you found out, and this was in the early days in Florida, right when
Yep.
medical marijuana was legal, and you were working for the doctor or with the doctor of osteopathy. What was the story? The story you told me is most of the people
Oh yeah. Mhm.
wanted something that the industry didn't understand yet.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about what when you started this, what were the questions being asked, and now where are you today? But tell that story first, and then we'll transition into that.
That was good. Yeah. So it was interestingly enough, I mean, medical marijuana is an amazing thing, and it's really incredible breakthroughs. And we were seeing a lot of success at the doctor's office with people being prescribed these medical marijuana cards. But what was interesting was that one of the biggest problems, or I guess pushbacks you could say, that we were getting from people was that this sort of high, that the high that you get from marijuana, the THC in particular, it was actually considered a negative side effect by most people, because these are people that have families, they have careers, they're students, they're public servants, and I mean you can't really walk around high all day.
Right. They
You know,
need to deal with an issue that that's occurring with them, and they don't want the psychotropic impact of it.
exactly. Yeah,
Right.
that's exactly right. And that was funny because that's not really something anybody really anticipated.
Right.
Like, oh, you get high, you feel good. Well, not if not if you have
Not if
a
you have
9 to 5 job to take care
you
of,
have to
or
provide.
4 kids to take. Right. Exactly. It's like, and so it was really seen as a negative side effect. And really, that was eye opening for me. And it was also pretty amazing as an entrepreneur. This is where I really saw the opportunity, because it just so happens that there's only one, it's called cannabinoid in the plant that's psychoactive, and that is THC. And with the techniques that we have right now, we're able to remove the THC or lower the amount of THC so that it doesn't have that effect. But then, kind of let the other cannabinoids, which are called minor cannabinoids, be the star of the show. So things like CBN, CBG, and CBD.
Well, that's a good transition point. As we're going into the break right now, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some of the individual plants, some of the minor cannabinoids, what their intended focus is. and have more in-depth knowledge from you, who are the expert here on what they do and how they work. So again, with Steve Brown, Native Ceuticals Apothecary, and we will be right back. We're back on Beyond the Blueprint. I'm Brad Howard, your host, and we're joined today with Stephen Brown of Native Ceuticals. And we have been talking about plant-based alternatives to healthcare. And we wanted we left the break and we were discussing not just the CBD or the THC, but the minor cannabinoids that are inside the plant. And people not wanting to be high, they just want the benefits of the plant. And that was where your training and your knowledge came in. So at that point, I'm going to turn it over to you because that is not my expertise.
Yeah, absolutely. So really, I mean, it kind of goes back to a question you had asked earlier, whereas like, when people come in, like, what are you listening for,
Right.
And that's it right there. It's like, that's what they were saying. They don't want the high, but they want the benefits of the plant. And so these different cannabinoids, they call minor cannabinoids, they're just as effective as THC. In other words, like, they're just as strong, I guess you could say, is another way of putting it. They just do something different. They interact with the system, with the body in a different way.
Okay, and then can you explain that? Because I know there's I know a handful of them, but I know that from our discussion, there's maybe 80 or so that they know of, or 85 that they know of. So explain the ones that I know of are everybody knows, I think, CBD.
Yes,
but there's also CBN, CBC, CBG.
Yes.
And so go ahead and talk about what are the minor cannabinoids and what benefits do they have?
Yeah. So, I mean, you really kind of nailed it right there. I mean, those are the main ones that we work with. There are other ones, but some of them are so similar to each other that they're not really worth, having as a separate item. But CBN is one that's what happens to THC after it breaks down. It loses its psychoactive component, and then it turns into CBN, and it happens naturally through UV light, the sun, basically. So it turns into CBN, and CBN. What's great about it is that it loses the psychoactive aspect, but it keeps the sedative. So it still makes you sleepy. It still makes you tired. But it's not like a knockout pill. It's not like taking, like a drug that knocks you out and then you wake up, groggy 6 hours later, wondering like, was that even real sleep? What happens with CBN is it helps your body naturally fall asleep into true deep sleep. So you fall asleep naturally, you stay asleep naturally, and then when you wake up, you feel like energized and refreshed, like you're supposed to when you sleep. CBG is another one. CBG works in a different way with the body. Now these all work with the endocannabinoid system. They just work in a different way with the or the ECS.
Right. Well, actually, let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
Let's explain what the endocannabinoid system is, because a lot of people may or may not know.
Sure. Yeah. So this was really the piece when I was saying I was working with that doctor. This was the part of this was the entrepreneurial side of me that kicked in. As I'm watching this real life problem unfold in front of me, then all of a sudden we're presented with this real life solution, which are these minor cannabinoids, non-psychoactive, but they are just as effective in their own way. And that's because they interact with a system in our body called the endocannabinoid system. And that for me was like that was like the winning ticket, because so we have a system in our body that all but guarantees that these things are going to be effective. It's just the trick is creating a product that is that's designed in such a way that your body can actually make use of these cannabinoids. And then the other one is using the correct cannabinoid for the different thing. Now, what the endocannabinoid system is, which I'm just going to call ECS from now on. The ECS is the simplest way to think of it. It's kind of like a thermostat for your body that controls all the major different systems and functions in your body. So its job really is to keep an equilibrium or a balance. And balance is one of the most important things in your body. Make sure that everything's doing what it's supposed to be doing. When the ECS is out of balance, your whole body can be out of balance, every major system and function. So what these different cannabinoids do is basically set the thermostat to the right, temperature, so that your body is properly functioning. And that's exactly what we do when we make our different products.
Very interesting. So I know we talked about the questions from day one that you were getting asked. You were probably asked is how this is going to make me feel. Am I going to get high? Et cetera. So now, fast forward to people are more comfortable. The store's been established. there in
Hmm.
Statesville for a couple years now. And what questions are they asking you now? Now they're educated about what the different plants do. So how has that changed their mindset? And also I want to give you a plug. I know that when you first opened that store, you received an award from the Chamber of
Oh yeah,
Commerce.
yeah.
So both questions, and then go into that, because if people are visualizing what this native Ceuticals is as a smoke shop.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
no, yeah.
I want just so that the listeners can understand that there is a vast difference between what you're doing and what the market perceives when you say the word CBD.
Yeah, great point. Yeah. So like I was saying before, like when you walk in, you're not going to see like vapes and loud colors and things like that. It's really just more like it's basically an herb shop. I mean, think of it like, like a tea shop or an herb shop. And one of the things that we specialize in is the endocannabinoid system. So we have the benefit of, like I was saying, we include that hemp plant in with other plants. We just see it as a plant. And excuse me. So yeah, like we were very honored to receive that award. Actually, it's called the Sage Award, and we were up against some pretty big players. I mean, and this just goes to show the way that were received in the community. I think this is an idea that its time has come, and people are really looking for it because people are just they're tired of taking all the like so many pills and so many drugs, but the problems still persist. So we need a solution to those problems. So really, that's what this is. This is a new way of looking at health and wellness, and an entire suite of products that you may not have considered before, that I think that definitely you should.
Okay. And on that same point, and it's something that we need to talk about, because it is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, is legislation,
Yeah,
and topics like that. Do you want to share? There is some recent legislation that's come out. Some may see it as positive and negative. I just want your thoughts on what you
sure.
see being in this industry and how it's going to impact your segment of the industry.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, that's a good point. I mean, from every point of view, I mean, everybody has their different point of view, and I mean, to say that there's nothing positive in this would be wrong, in my opinion. But I also think that they just took a way too heavy-handed approach. I've been in this industry now for going on 8 years, and so I pretty much seen every aspect of it. I have friends that are in the recreational side. I'm not like anti-recreation. It's not that I think that it's like
No.
immoral or anything like that. It's not that. It's just we're just doing something different. But I think what happened is there were so many different um, gray areas, I guess you could say, in the prior legislation, that some people took advantage of it and started making these sort of exotic synthetic forms of THC, like because they were looking for the psychoactive effect,
Right, right.
and just like anything else, they took it way too far, and it ended up in gummies being sold to children, and that is
That is not a good thing.
absolutely out of the question, ridiculous. And I mean, I don't think there's even really that many people that wanted to see that result, but that's what was happening. So the legislation has that very much in mind, and I think that many of the politicians and many of the lobbying groups and things like that, that's really what they're trying to prevent. But there are ways of doing that without having to take too hard of an approach on it. And I think if you were to ask me where I stand on it, I think the Farm Bill, the 0.3% THC is sufficient. It's naturally occurring in the plant. So I think as long as you just do away with all these synthetic, versions of THC, just make those illegal, and then allow whatever is naturally occurring in the plant, just allow that to be just the way it is. Just kind of keep it the way it is. I think you can still maintain, the medical or the medicinal side of the industry, and still continue to see the billions of dollars of growth, in the industry, both for people like me and also the farmers out there.
Do you have a go-to analogy that helps people understand that may be confused by conflicting headlines in the industry?
Yeah. So okay, I like to think of it as like, and it's funny because I've heard this from some other people too. It's like almost like sort of like the prohibition years. So yeah, like, and it's like prohibition didn't work. Okay, it's like all you're gonna do is just create this black market, and then but regulation. I know, of course, it has to exist. Um, but I think like the analogy would be the stuff that we need to get rid of is all like the sort of the bathtub, liquor that was made during the prohibition that was like making
No
people blind.
radiators, no.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
And that's what's happening. But I think get rid of that. maintain the healthy aspects of the industry, and I think it'll be just fine.
All right, and when we come back, we're going to take a different tact with Steve, and get a little more personal. So, Brad Howard, Beyond the Blueprint with Stephen Brown with Native Ceuticals. We will be right back. And we're back. This is Beyond the Blueprint. I'm Brad Howard. We're joined by Stephen Brown with Native Ceuticals, and we're going to bring it home to see how he actually works with people day to day and where he thinks everything is heading. But before we get to that point, we need to finish up our conversation before I took a left detour with ADD here. And we were talking about the CBN and the benefits of that minor cannabinoid, but there are other minor cannabinoids and other products. And I wanted to understand more about what they do and how they can have an impact on a person.
Sure. Yeah. So, excuse me. Yeah. So we did touch briefly on the CBN. Another one that we work with, and we've worked with for quite a while, is called CBG. And this is another one of those naturally occurring cannabinoids that is in the plant already. Non-psychoactive, so you don't have to worry about feeling any kind of weird way. This is actually the first cannabinoid to form in the plant. Like when it's a baby plant, that CBGs is known as the mother cannabinoid. And so all the other cannabinoids actually spring out of CBG. So as the plant ages and matures, the different cannabinoids start to form. And so CBG is unique in the sense that it works with a different receptor in the body, and it has, like, I'd say probably like the most versatile use, because it's helpful for, and I'll tell you what I mean. Like, so it helps with things like mood stabilization. So CBG can really help you if you're like having like issues with you know just feeling down or just feeling lethargic and things like that. So it can help you uplift your mood, but it also helps with the immune system. So it boosts your immune system and helps that function better. And then also it's the best one for in many ways for the skin. And
For the
so
skin,
yeah, we use
really?
a lot of our skincare products that we have. We have a whole line of skincare products that uses CBG because it helps to regenerate skin cells. So I mean, so not only cosmetically, but also just as far as like therapeutically, we have different products for those as well. And then the last one that we work with mostly is CBC. Now, this is the one that we just added this one this year, and we're really excited about this because there's a lot of promise here. We have lots of people, as they age, they may be having issues with memory, issues with being able to like remember things, remember like you forget words in the middle of sentences, things like that. So CBC actually has a sort of neuroprotectant effect, and so we've created a product we call Clarity
Mhm.
with CBC, and it's a gummy and then also a tincture.
Mhm.
Now the gummy also contains lion's mane, ginkgo biloba, and coenzyme Q10. The tincture doesn't have the lion's mane, and the ginkgo biloba does have the CoQ10 and red raspberry oil. So these are really great products. I mean, if you're having trouble whether it's just every day, just brain fog, or whether you're starting to decline and you're starting to notice that you're forgetting things and things like that, these are extremely good products for that.
Okay, so I have to ask you. So, what made you look at when you're trying to figure out what to do? What made you look at Native Ceuticals and say, "This is the brand I want to build a future with"?
Yeah, so I mean, it was back in 2019. I had been working with the doctor of osteopathy for about a year and a half, 2 years, and it was time for me to move on. Like I was saying, I mean, I'm an entrepreneurial minded person, so I started my own brand. Started going out making deals with different small businesses, things like that, different business to business deals. I had a little brand that I created that was starting to get traction down in Florida, in sort of the New Smyrna Beach area. And it's kind of funny, 6 degrees of separation. One of my clients was really close with somebody with Native Ceuticals, and they were looking for someone that knew how to make these products. And as soon as I started talking to the people that were putting together, the company up there, up in it was in North Carolina. We were down in Florida. I mean, it was like right away. I just knew that like we were on the same path. While so many places were going that recreational route, Native Ceuticals, literally from day one, was interested in the health and wellness space. And so, when they offered to bring my family and I up to North Carolina, to be part of forming in Native Ceuticals, it was really kind of a no-brainer for us.
Okay, so on that, walk us through what happens when a brand new cautious customer walks into your store, what are the first questions you ask them, and what direction does it take from there?
Yeah, it's a good question. So when somebody walks in the store, you can kind of see it sometimes if they are not really super familiar. It can be a little overwhelming because there's a lot to see. There's a lot of herbs, there's a lot of plants and things like that. And I guess what I say, listen, don't be overwhelmed. The best place to start is actually with you, and nobody knows you better than you. We all know what we're dealing with, so just pick something that you're dealing with and start there. And then from there, I just kind of walk them through the different options for the different issues that they're dealing with, try to match them with something that they're looking for. And then that's where we start.
And then once they leave, they find a plan or a product that they believe will work for them. They take it. Um, what happens next? Do they come back? Do they call? Do they follow up?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, one thing we're also very cautious about is like we want people to understand like we're not a doctor's office. Like we're not prescribing anything. We're not diagnosing anything. We're just simply trying to help people for them to match what they're experiencing with something that might help and or has helped other people in the past. So a lot of times, I mean, we get an incredible amount of repeat business. I mean, we have such a loyal following of people. It's really quite amazing. We actually have a book in the front of the store for testimonials, so people will come and then write down their testimonial in the book, and it's a great it's a great tool for people if they're just a little cautious. They can actually read to see what other real people have said about the products. But it's very common for people to come back again and again. And this really kind of goes to where we got the idea for the whole build your own apothecary thing. Because, like as I was saying, you didn't build your medicine cabinet overnight. It took years to put that thing together. So little by little, you just start building your own apothecary at home.
That is a great idea. I mean, that shows how much confidence that you have in yourself and in the brand and in the products. Is that you have your own review? Most people go online and look at a Google review or a Yelp review or whatever. You have a testimonial page, right, where people walk in the door where you would typically go in and just sign as a guest, but put your personal experiences here.
Yeah.
That is another level of confidence and customer satisfaction, I believe.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, it's
So I mean,
funny.
what kind of? I mean, I'm interested now. What kind of
Yeah.
comments or do you read in there?
It's mostly just like, we're so happy that you're here. That is probably the most common thing because we have people, we had somebody come in the other day that drove, I know this is going to sound crazy, but it's true. It's 6 hours. So they weren't coming just only for our store, but they had some business to do in the area, but they made it a point to drive all the way to Statesville and loop back around before they went back down to the coast, the North Carolina coast where they live. I mean, it's just, there's not really, I mean, people are looking for something like this and we're doing it in a way that is speaking to the people and what they want. We listen to what they ask for and we give them what they need.
Okay, so now that is so impressive. I mean, it really is. So what I want you to do now is look 5, 10 years in the future. How do you believe there's the balance between plants and pills are going to be for most people?
Yeah, I think things move in cycles and this isn't the first time that people have looked at plants and food and things like that as medicine. I think it's going to continue to grow. I think that people are going to continue to look into these things now that we have such incredible tools to research. It's very easy just to open up your favorite AI tool and just start asking it what natural remedies or natural herbs or whatever can help with this thing that I'm dealing with, and then you'll just get a whole list. So I really think it's just going to grow. I think it's going to increase. Also for us specifically, we would love to open up another store. I mean, we already have ideas of maybe opening up one a little bit further south, maybe more towards the Cornelius or a little bit more towards Charlotte or perhaps.
Okay.
Also, if this is something that you're interested in, we also, as a company, Native Ceuticals, we sell licenses, which is sort of the backbone of what we do at Native Ceuticals. We have our licensees who are at different phases of their journey as well, opening up a store or creating business to business deals, doing pop-ups. And if that's something that might interest you, then that's always an option as well.
Okay. And if people want to learn more, they can go to, what is the website?
Yeah, it's nativeceuticals.com. And there's a spot up at the top where it says, where you can inquire for more information. And then if that's something you're curious about, just click on that, fill out the form, and someone will reach out to you.
Yeah. Or they can learn about the different products and options out there and educate themselves.
That's right. Or you can always come by the store in Statesville and talk to us there.
And what is the address?
Oh, so it's 118 West Broad Street in downtown Statesville, North Carolina. And if you, I mean, and to be honest, I mean, for people in the vicinity around here, if you aren't aware of the downtown Statesville area, you should really go check it out. It's growing quite a bit. I mean, there's a beautiful walkable area. There's great restaurants. There's great shops. There's boutiques. All sorts of interesting things. There's one of the most nationally renowned escape rooms in Statesville.
And I've done 2 of those with the kids.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
Yeah.
We got out of one. We didn't get out of the other one.
Yeah, right. It's crazy. Like they're like nationally recognized.
Oh, it is.
Room.
It's like, I mean, it's almost like a Disney ride. I'm not, maybe we'll have them on sometime and talk about what they've created there. But downtown Statesville is a fantastic place to come visit. So while you're visiting us, take a walk around and see what's down there. Yeah, no. So we're going to close out here at the end of the show. And I just want to ask if listeners can remember just one mindset shift from the conversation, what do you hope it is?
Just, I think that hemp, cannabis, however you want to look at it, CBD, it belongs in the world of plant medicine. It doesn't belong in the world of illicit street drugs.
Okay. So I want to say a big thank you to my guest today, Stephen Brown with Native Ceuticals, for helping us rethink how hemp and other plant-based tools can fit in alongside our traditional medicine cabinet at home as a smarter health plan. If today's conversation about stress, pain, or plant options hit home for you, start asking better questions. Ask your doctor the brands you buy and what you do for yourself. Just education, learn more, have open conversations, open dialogues, and you can learn more about Stephen's work and Native Ceuticals online on the website and catch an episode on demand of this show on the WSIC News app or website or YouTube or anywhere else. Again, I'm Brad Howard. Thank you for listening. And until next time on Beyond the Blueprint.